お、来たね。それで今日はどこに行くんだい？
配置につけ。はあ？数で押せると思うのよ。いいよ、もっと一つになさず。極光はゴール、旅行は明道。さあ、お眠りなさい。一戦手はず通りに行くぞ。了解っす。今だ。反射してこれで烈風光栄。悪い子が来たみたい。食らいなさい。はあ？火を持って火を救う、私にしかできない伝統ね。楽に死なせてやろう。はあ？ふっ、こっ、反射、遅い。一戦、皆さん注意してください。烈風光栄。はあ？その程度。これで一戦いた。一戦食らいなさい。応援に対応しろ。
Hey, what's up? What's up, guys? Sorry I've been a little bit inactive. And before you ask, no, I do not have the Neo 3 key. That is not why I've been inactive. It's because seasonal depression has been really, really hard on me. It's been hard to be present and have the motivation to do stuff on the channel. Although apparently me just talking about the DLC is doing better than actually playing it, so that's a win. Because I'm pretty burnt out on that game until the mods get fixed, and that's obviously something that I can't control. It's the problem when games get updates. They get updates very rarely, in like a really long time after the initial release. Sometimes those people don't come back. I sent them DMs. That's really all I can do. So I mean, the DLC gives what it gives what it advertised. It's not like it's false advertising. It's just not the best value if you've already done everything in the game, or you've done most of it, because it doesn't really change the gameplay, like, at all. I mean, just barely. The R1s do help, I'll give it that, but I think that that's not enough. I really don't understand why the game is designed in a way where they just don't want you to... They don't want you to get too strong or have a lot of different playstyles. The stuff you put on your weapons in that game is just so boring. It really is just generic stuff, and that doesn't really keep me playing. You would think that they would not design it like that, considering that those issues are a lot more apparent when you've only got one guy to play as. See, that's the problem. There are plenty of other Musou games that have boring progression systems and lack of builds and stuff, but you know, they have the characters to fall back on. And like, even stuff like Basara 3 had more movesets than Origins, despite being a bit of the same problem. You know, they cut out a huge chunk of the characters because, you know, they wanted to redo the combat, which is exactly what happened with Origins. The difference is Basara still had more movesets, and the movesets were better balanced overall. Some of the movesets that are in Origins, especially the new bow, don't really even feel... They don't even really feel that great. I think the people that just like to parrot that, oh, well, you know, the amount of movesets doesn't matter, like, it does. It's just like when people say, oh, you know, a fighting game roster doesn't need to be big. I'm like, you know, 2XKO was like that, right, at launch. It's a little bit better now, but at launch, that game had like 10 characters. You're literally seeing 40% of the roster in every match. Like, you can't tell me that that's not a problem. Maybe it's not as much of a problem as people say. You can fit a lot of character archetypes into 10 characters, but, you know, you still shouldn't be able to see, like, half the cast in one match. Like, that's kind of pushing what's acceptable. In terms of the bow, yeah, I mean, it's basically just, they're trying to do ranged combat, and, we all know that's usually shit in Musou games. There are some exceptions. Magoichi was pretty good. The crossbow was decent. Mitsunari in Orochi 1 was busted as hell, man. He had, like, a shit melee moveset, but he could kill, like, a dozen officers in, like, seconds. They don't seem to be able to find a balance. It's like, it's either trash and not worth using, unless you want to torture yourself or you're looking for some kind of self-imposed challenge, or it's busted and breaks the game. Like, Mitsunari got gutted hard in Orochi 2 for that exact reason. Really, the only thing that they did to nerf it was they made it so it didn't stagger them. The fact that it staggered them was nuts, because you could essentially either combo them to death with it, or just spam it from the side while they're on the ground. And they all taking, like, huge amounts of elemental damage. I really don't know why they keep trying. I don't know why they keep trying to make ranged combat work, because they don't seem to be able to find a balance. There's a lot of ranged characters in this game that suck, too. Like, they're really bad. Straight garbage. But this game is kind of an outlier, because most reason why this game has bad movesets is mostly because they didn't make everything They didn't make everything just for this game. They recycled a ton of it. So it's not just me that thinks the bow sucks, so that's reassuring, I guess. Really should have been the katana or something. A better chance of being usable. I think the interesting thing is, like, balance of Origin's movesets is already not great to begin with. The R1, some of the R1s actually do make a huge difference, but some of the others don't. And even then, like, you're always hard limited by only being able to whip forward. I'll definitely play that more on the channel from time to time, but if the mods get updated, that would increase the chances, because that game is DMC 5 and Kingdom Hearts 3 status. It's like it's a solid, it's a good game. It's a good game without mods, but the mods also make it like 30 times better. So playing it without them just kind of sucks. Which is 100% DMC 5 and Kingdom Hearts 3. It's just like to the point where it's not worth not playing the game without mods. Mods just make it objectively better. So, if you have access to it, you know, a Steam Deck minimum, you're gonna play the game for more than a couple hours. Like, yeah, install the mods. They're not working right now. Broken. See, the problem with the buff moves is the four move limit. That's the problem. If you could just switch through them, that would be more viable. I could see there being a use for it, but, you know, you have to sacrifice a quarter of your options to use that. So, it has to be really good. And it doesn't seem like that's the case at all. This game does a better job of having a 4-move limit, but it does still have the same problem. Mostly, the full force burst should be something that you just have equipped by default. There should be like a button combo for it, instead of having to sacrifice a slot, because it's like the most busted thing you have. Like you can't not have it. But it just begs the question, like, why isn't it just like, you know, the Kazuna Rush in 3, where that wasn't something that you had to equip. But it's less of an issue in this game compared to Origins. Mostly because the way that the combat works in Origins, you need mobbing and you need bossing. And you gotta put all that in 4 slots, and just like this game, you know, you need to have the palm strike or something equivalent. So, you really only have 3 slots, which is exactly how it is in this game. But in this game, you can do a lot more with 4 slots. It's less of an issue. But, it's kind of just designing things around pushing, like, a top button and the face buttons. 4 is not a lot. Origins 100% feels better with the mod that gives you 8. You have a lot more options. It's really disappointing that they didn't put anything like that in the game, because it's what it needs. They shouldn't have to put so much thought into what you put in your 4 slots when, just like this game, you only have 3. It's like the game is already balanced around having multiple. That's what's strange about it. Why they didn't backpedal on that? Because, like, you know, the meter prevents you from spamming it. You can't spam moves in that game. You have to interact with the officers. You can't just button mash. But, like, when you think of it that way, what's the point of limiting me to 4? You get your moves, like, way faster in this game, so I think if you had 8 in this game, it would be busted. You basically would never have to basic attack anything unless you wanted to. or your character is built around it. But meter gain in this is a lot higher. Like, if you had a mod to give you 8 of them, you would basically have like your whole moveset, and you would never have anything on cooldown. But see, Origins is not designed like that. Origins is like, to get meter, you have to actually play the game and interact with the officers, and they have the really cool system where just dodges and parries give different amounts of bravery. So the decision to only have 4 really doesn't make any sense. The game already has a system in place to prevent you from spamming them. Should probably make a video about this. Not in seasonal depression season. I think it's something people need to understand. I'm sure there's some people saying, like, people don't complain about it in this game. They totally do, but the way that it works in this game is much better balanced than Origins. You don't really need more than 4. It would be nice to have for, like, style play and stuff, but I feel like they'd have to, like, nerf meter gain in some way. So that you can't just, like, spam them on rotation, especially, like, with how this game works compared to Origins, where you can make yourself invincible during the moves. I mean, you could literally be unkillable if they gave you more than 4, with the meter gain the way it is now. Like, I 100% know why this game doesn't have it, but Origins is... R1s are a lot less powerful in that game compared to this, and you can do them a lot less often. Well, that's exactly the problem, is a buffing move is not really viable. We have such a strict limit on how many moves you can use. A buffing move has to be busted, which is, ironically, what this game does good. Yeah, it sucks that you need to have full force burst at all times. Like, the character literally doesn't function without it. The difference is, it's a lot better than any of the buff moves in Origins. It's the same problem, but this game does it a lot better. I definitely do agree that you should not have to equip the full force bursts. If you're gonna make it like this strong, you should, you know, it should be like a permanent thing. But yeah, this kind of design of having there's only 4 moves, it's very difficult to make it not feel limiting, and this game is the lesser of 2 evils for sure, because you get them back a lot faster for one, and overall, the moves in this game are better designed. There are some moves in Origins that are just complete shit. Like, they're not even worth using once, so... Well, you know, the thing about Neo 3 is they already addressed this problem with the alpha feedback. People didn't like that you could only have 2 weapons. And now they made it so you can have 4. Problem solved. That solves everything, right? They're going to make you earn it because they don't want to make the onboarding suffer by giving you 4 weapons with like 20 moves you can use at your disposal at all times, but they did fix the problem. Origins did not. Although, again, 2 weapons limit in Neo is a lot less restrictive than 4 R1s and Origins. Not even close. That's incomparable, but they already addressed that. It's got to the point where Team Ninja is a lot better at more receptive to feedback the Koei Tecmo published games. For a large development team, they're pretty humble. People tell them something sucks, and most of the time, as long as within the patch cycle, they do fix it. People told them 100% like it sucks to only have 2 weapons. And, you know, they basically put out the alpha thing a couple months back. It's like, yeah, well, now you can have 4. That's why one of the reasons why I like their games. It's not entirely because they make stuff with combat I enjoy, but they do really listen. And we've got so many game companies right now that I don't know what it is, either ego or publisher has got them by the balls and doesn't let them fix stuff. It's nice to see, and I wish people could see that as a good thing. One of the unsung advantages of their games. Wolong was the same. Wolong had the same problem as Origins. He only had like 2 moves, and then it was RNG which one you got, so you had to hope for a perfect drop. And then just like Origins, a lot of the R1s were shit, so the weapon was bricked. But then they made it so instead of 2, you can equip 6. Hey, that fixed the problem. And then they also buffed all the R1s as well, so to make them more worth using. Now, you gotta keep in mind, I think that was not entirely because of feedback. Keep in mind, Breath of the Wild came out that same year, and everybody hated it in that game. You get a weapon and you can kill, like, 1 challenging enemy with it and it breaks. People are already kind of on alert with mechanics like that. But yeah, that is an example. But I do feel like that's also just because Breath of the Wild got hated on for good reason for putting in an obnoxious durability system that doesn't really add anything to the game. It's not like the movesets in that game are like deep whatsoever. There's not really any reason to make it break. Maybe if they had like more unique properties or something, but that game is pretty much just slash stuff, and that's it. There's no moveset. Yeah, Neo 1 Alpha actually had juggling. I kind of wish they had kept that, but I guess what they're doing in Neo 3 is pretty close. Not quite there yet. Maybe we're gonna need another Neo game after this one, where they just full-on make it character action. They're getting there. I saw you doing like enemy steps and stuff with like the Kusari Gama ninja mode. I'm like, this is the evolution Souls-likes needed. Less being a perpetually exhausted, obese smoker and just never feeling powerful. It's really taught a lot of these competitors to FromSoft that, like, you know, the game could still be challenging. And just because your character is capable and agile and has a lot of options doesn't make the game easy. It can, but if you balance it right, you know, it's just more fun. And there's a lot more to explore when you design it like that versus, you know, getting exhausted after 2 slashes and being tired all the time. It's not the only way to make a difficult game. I didn't really care for Ronin, but the fact that the port was trash didn't really help. Like, at all. You know, this game's got its faults. It's not perfect. There's a lot wrong with it, but I never once had any kind of issue with this game. The only issue I ever had with this game was something that was on my end. I had to fix something in my computer. I'm not going to fault the game for that. That's not the game's fault. But other than that, this is a solid port. The Switch 2 version, on the other hand, is shit. Switch 2 version of this is a downgrade. Literally Elden Ring all over again. You gotta downgrade your version to get a stable performance. Because they decided to, I don't know what it is, but it runs worse. The only reason the internet isn't going crazy over it is because it's free, so... The amount you can complain about something that's free is kind of limited. Like, yeah, it sucks, but they didn't charge for it, so... You can downgrade. I don't really think the visual improvements are worth it running like garbage. Well, I mean, with the caveat of playing it in portable mode, playing Part Warriors 4 Switch 1 in docked mode was a straight downgrade, and like from every other version, 100%. But you know, most people don't really play stuff docked, at least if they're like me and they have a more powerful platform, so that doesn't bother me. Yes and no. Battery life on a stock Steam Deck is pretty bad. Also, as much as people hate Joy-Cons and how expensive they are, it was kind of a wake-up call to me, because my Steam Deck's R1 button is broken, and they want like $200 to fix it, which is crazy, because I've spent like probably minimum like 10K on my Steam account, and I've been with them since the beginning. It's pretty bullshit that I even have to pay it all. Switch 2 is a lot smaller for one. Power-wise, they're pretty similar. Switch 2 is marginally better. The screen is better for one. The screen is objectively better. I've seen people complain about ghosting on it because it's not an OLED screen, but I honestly don't really have much of an eye for that. Especially because I grew up with, like, the OG Game Boy, which is the epitome of a shit screen. Playing a Game Boy game on real hardware versus an emulator or any kind of like updated version is night and day. I don't think people remember how bad the Game Boy screen was. Game Boy screen was like unusable. The ghosting was, you could barely use it. Main good thing about it is it had good battery life, and the competitors Nintendo had at the time had better screens, but worse games and then shit battery life is why those consoles failed. There's pros and cons to both. Don't let anyone tell you one is objectively better than the other. Yeah, you have more control over it because it's a computer. You know, you have more places to buy things for one. You have access to mods, fan games and stuff. You can use it for non-gaming things, but there are some really bad flaws. The LCD Steam Deck battery life is pretty terrible. Playing something like this that's 3D and pushes the console pretty hard, you get like maybe 2-hour battery life. You play like a big Western AAA game, the battery life's like an hour. It really depends on what you use it for. In my opinion, the cutoff for like AAA games is Steam Deck is like 2021 basically. Past that, you're pushing it, and it's just like not worth the portability unless you have a power bank or you have some kind of job. or situation where you can, you know, use it plugged in. I would say the issue with the Steam Deck now is buying one right now compared to a Switch 2 isn't the best idea, because they said they're not going to make a successor until it's like a generational leap. They don't want it to be like 10% better. They want it to be like 100% better. And then supposedly the chipsets required for like the processor and everything are supposed to be coming next year. So when we think about how the price is similar, it would make more sense to buy this at this point, unless you're really into modding or you know, you have a large library. Yeah, repairing those things is a nightmare. There are a lot less people that can do it compared to a Switch. And there's a lot less need to do it because, you know, if you're an adult and you take care of your stuff and you don't throw it when you get salty, you know, the main thing that's going to break is the controller. Controllers are overpriced, yes, 100%, but the Joy-Cons on the Switch 2 are a lot better, and I haven't had any drifting issues yet. I went through, like, multiple Joy-Cons in the Switch's lifespan, and I, like, don't even play, like, 16 hours a day, and I don't play, like, Smash either. You know, Smash is the thing that destroys controllers. Like, the Switch 1 controllers were terrible. If you're comparing it to a Switch 1, it's a lot better, but you gotta think about, you know, being able to play current games and stuff. And, like, buying an OLED Steam Deck now is pretty expensive, especially if you're getting it new. You're not getting it secondhand, and then, like, they're gonna replace it next year. They've already said that. They've been very upfront about wanting to put one out next year. Steam Deck is fine if you keep your expectations in check. If you expect to play, like, every AAA game on it with, like, 60 FPS at minimum, and then, like, a long battery life, then you should not get one. You want to play smaller stuff like this, the cutoff point is a lot later. I mean, there are plenty of awesome, smaller games that you can play on it that work fine. Emulation-wise, it's awesome, because it can handle everything up to the PS3 pretty much perfectly. And then some Switch games run better than the Switch does. And there are a number that actually run better, that have frame rate mods that Switch 2 does not have access to. Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate is a big one. You can run that game at 60 FPS locked and have a pretty good battery life on a base deck. You can't do that on an actual Switch 2 right now. It really depends on what you're looking for. It's just people, they give themselves miserable experiences with it, like self-inflicted. They'll ask, like, can I run Borderlands 4 on this? I'm like, dude, that game is optimized so poorly that people with 5090s and 14900Ks can barely run it. Like, why do you want to play that on the Steam Deck? It's not going to be enjoyable. You know, you want to play, like, something like this, or Dynasty Warriors Origins, which are pretty modern, recent games. It's fine, but people buy it and they just go straight to AAA stuff. It's like, that's not what you should use it for. The next one, the Steam Deck 2 or whatever they call it, I think that will be more viable, but the problem is still something that's not anyone's fault. Not the people that make these machines anyway. Battery tech for mobile devices has, like, flatlined for years now. So that's why, you know, you play, like, Wuthering Waves on your phone, you have a top-of-the-line phone and it lasts, like, 2 hours, which is a lot more severe there because you need your phone for, like, non-gaming shit and adult stuff, right? Playing bills and phone calls. Is it really viable to play that on your phone? Even if it had controller support, which I think it does, is it viable to play something like that when the average person is gone from their house several hours a day. School, work, errands, whatever. You don't want to miss out on like an emergency call because you're playing a gacha game. Battery tech for mobile devices has like barely improved, which is why the OLED, it did improve a little bit with the Steam Deck OLED, and it's a lot more viable to play demanding games on it. I mean, playing it on a stock deck, you're looking at like a 90-minute battery life, which is pretty shit, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I guess if you have an hour-long commute, or like an hour-long lunch break at work or school or whatever, I guess it's okay, but I don't really think 90-minute battery life for a modern game is what I want. You know, I play like BlazBlue Entropy Effect or like PS2 games on it, and I can get like multiple hours. Or like a game like Fight Forever, or some of the indie games I play, I can get like 4 hours out of it. Maybe even more than that if I lower the power draw. That's more what I use it for, smaller games. But people don't have any self-control. Why do you want to play this Unreal Engine 5 game on your Steam Deck? It's like, you might as well just slap yourself at that point. You know, you want to play like Pirate Warriors 3 or Warriors Orochi or something like that, you're good to go, but people don't understand the limitations of devices anymore. It's just like, I'm gonna throw the most poorly optimized game at this small portable device that has to run on like very limited amount of power and then complain that it doesn't work. It's like, well, you should have kept your expectations in check. The same thing in the Android community. They want a PS3 emulator. I'm like, dude, the phones are still way off from being able to do that. And even then, just like playing an open world gacha on your phone, you gotta think about the real life important stuff outside of the games, which is, you know, being able to make calls and stuff. You know, play like, I don't know, God of War 3 on your phone, but it lasts like an hour, and then, you know, you need to call an Uber to get home, or you need to call your relative or partner or whatever for a ride. I mean, the sensible thing to do is to not play big games like that on first place. Well, see, that was the problem with the Switch 1 Joy-Cons, is the average working adult that only plays for like a couple hours a day, those things were still breaking after like a few months. That is not acceptable. It's one thing if you're an angry kid and you're throwing it constantly and you don't like clean your hands before you use it. You know, you have to keep your expectations in check there. But majority of people that had drift were not just people that played like Smash for 16 hours a day for months on end. It was just normal people playing, you know, a couple hours a day, not like a crazy unhealthy amount. Joy-Cons are indefensible, the first ones. I really don't know how Nintendo dropped the ball that bad. That's essentially why they have to repair them, no questions asked, because they got in deep shit for selling something that barely works. Joy-Cons are decent for like 3D games. For 2D games, they're shit. For the Switch 1, I used a D-pad Joy-Con, and those were a lot more usable. But the problem is they don't have those for the Switch 2 yet. The thing's been out for like 6-7 months now, and it still doesn't have anything like that. So, it depends on what kind of games you play. But no, for average 3D games like this, they're fine. You want to play like a platformer on that, yeah, it's a straight downgrade. Switch Pro controller also had really shit D-pad. I don't know if the Switch 2 Pro Controller D-pad is any better, but I'll have to look at some reviews for it. That shit better not drift, though. It's like $100. I'm gonna start charging that much for a controller. It better not, like, break after a couple months of using it. Maximum, like, 3-4 hours a day. Like, that's not an acceptable amount of wear and tear to have to replace it, like, 6 months later. You know, you put, like, a fight stick through, like, 16 hours, or, like, a GameCube controller through, like, every waking hour of Smash Melee for, like, months on end. Like, having to replace it is acceptable. Not when, like, it's like an adult-owned controller. Like mine, you know, my Switch Joy-Cons drifted so much. It's like, dude, I'm not even on this thing that much, man. Like, not more than any other normal, functional adult. A couple hours a day. Like, why is this thing drifting already? I had one give out on me after like 2 months. Like, this is unacceptable. That's just crazy. That should not be a thing. I don't think anybody can complain about having to constantly replace the GameCube controllers if they're playing like Smash. It's playing like normal 3D games, a couple hours a day, and having it break after like 2 months is just crazy, especially with how expensive they are. Yeah, there's pros and cons to a Switch 2 and a Steam Deck. Neither one is objectively better than the other. For instance, repairing anything that's wrong with the buttons is a nightmare compared to Nintendo, where you can just buy a new one. And yeah, it sucks to have to pay for a new controller, but I learned the hard way that if anything goes wrong with your Steam Deck, they want an absorbent amount of money, which is crazy, because they should look at, like, how much you spend on their service and give you some kind of hookup, but they don't. I even told them, I'm like, dude, I spent, like, thousands on this service, like, why does it cost so much? It should not cost that much. So now I just, like, don't want to pay to repair it at all, because I could just put that towards Switch 2 stuff, games and whatnot, and just kind of live with having a broken button. PS4 controllers are pretty bad too. Those things could take like no punishment. I went through so many of those things. Sorry, if you're gonna start charging more than like $50 US for a controller, that shit should not break after a year. Especially me, growing up with like early video games, and those controllers like still work like 30 years later after like crazy abuse. Buying a used one, you don't know where it's been or how roughly it was used. That shit still works. Now you're gonna tell me these new controllers are like $60 to $100 and they break, you know, so soon. Being owned by responsible adults that don't like throw it or put gunk in it or anything, that's just unacceptable. The Steam Deck actually has a hardware flaw with its L1 and R1 buttons where it's very fragile and the stuff inside can break, but you can replace it, but there aren't really a lot of shops that can do it. You go to like a mobile shop, they'll just turn it down. Like, even if you don't have a warranty to worry about, they won't just straight up turn you away because they don't know how to fix it. I'd argue if you want to play modern games, the Switch 2 and the Steam Deck for like big AAA stuff have pretty similar performance. Now, if you're on an LCD, the version 1 of the Steam Deck, the battery life is definitely noticeable. It's a noticeable improvement from the Steam Deck. If you have an OLED Steam Deck, the difference is barely anything. So that's something you have to consider as well. The base version 1 Steam Deck has terrible battery life for like modern 3D stuff. The battery life is more than fine for like smaller things, you know. You want to boot up like an old Pokemon game or like a DS game or like a Wii game or PS2 or something, you can get several hours out of it just fine. But if you only play like modern stuff, I'd argue a Steam Deck Switch 2 is a better choice. Considering if they actually have what you wanted to play, you know, like... Switch 2's got a decent amount of AAA games, and like the performance is a little bit better on the Switch 2, but compared to an LCD Steam Deck, the battery life is way better. So, it depends. If you're like me, and, you know, I only bought the Switch 2 for like AAA, like the exclusives, because we all know the Switch 1 had like 6 different unique Muso games, then it's worth it. And I just use the Steam Deck for everything else. You know, obviously I can run emulators on there a hell of a lot easier. I don't have to mod it or anything. It's just download the program and point it to the files, and that's it. People tend to look at the comparisons. They don't really think about it maturely. It's like, yeah, it's got a lot of cool Nintendo games, but, you know, you can't do emulation and stuff on it. But then, like, the Steam Deck, people glaze the Steam Deck a ton, and that's kind of inaccurate for different reasons. LCD Steam Deck versus Switch 2 is no contest. The Switch 2 wins that, if you're going to play modern stuff. Now, if you're going to play just indie games, Steam Deck is 100% better because you get patches sooner. You can get the games for a lot cheaper, for one, because there's more than one place to get Steam games. And then, if you're into indie games, you're probably into retro stuff as well. And then, like, you can put an SD card in there and put, like, your entire childhood on it. It really depends on what you're expecting out of it. But like I said, a lot of people they aren't very realistic with their expectations of it. I'm like, yeah, it can play Cyberpunk at a playable frame rate, but, you know, for like 90 minutes. And I think, as much as adults with kids and stuff complain about how much little time they have, I think 90 minutes only is stretching it a lot. You know, like waiting at the DMV or like waiting for your food at a restaurant, you know, you can burn through that incredibly quick. It doesn't matter how busy you are. But, that's what people do with the Steam Deck, is they just want to play the biggest quadruple A masterpiece, and that's not what you should do with it. You should totally keep your expectations in check. It is a very awesome platform for specific things. The battery life on the Switch 2 is leaps and bounds better, and the performance is, from what I've seen personally, the performance for big games from Switch 2 to Steam Deck is minimal. It's like maybe like 5 frames or something on a lot of the major games. Not enough to really matter. It's like really pushing it, right? Don't really care about 5 frames, especially if it's still not hitting 60 and staying there at all times. Like 5 frames is nothing. I heard the PS5 controllers are better. Yeah, PS4 controllers were pretty bad. Those things could not withstand any punishment at all. Keep in mind, you know, I get frustrated easily, but I don't throw my stuff, right? I don't throw anything. I'm not that kind of easily frustrated person.
お、来たね。
I don't throw
そ
anything,
れ
right?
で今日はどこに行くんだい？
So with that in mind, these things should not be breaking so quickly. I think, like, needing the controller to be able to withstand people having fits and raging is not really something that they can expect them to do. Yeah, you know, you keep it clean, you don't throw it, you don't put gunk in it, and, you know, you play like a normal amount of time every day. I think that you should be able to expect it to last a little bit longer than that, but that is not the case currently. It really is just... You use the thing for a couple hours a day, and it shuts down in like a couple weeks. Not weeks, but months. I can link you guys to the controller I use. I use third-party controllers now. This is the controller I use. Really awesome controller, and also it's a hell of a lot more affordable than the first-party ones, so... They do tend to give out on me in a year. They do have a year warranty, but you gotta consider... You gotta send the controller to China, so... How much is it really worth it when you can get the controller for like $30? I don't bother with that, personally. I tried once. The Pro 2 also has Hall effect joysticks, so... It's a lot less prone to drift. I think it's one of the best all-around controllers on the market right now. Especially for niche uses, like fighting games and like retro games, platformers and stuff. The D-pad is very good. That's one of the best advantages to it, outside of just the cheaper price, and you have like multiple platforms you can use it on. The D-pad is very good, so if you're the kind of person that plays a lot of 2D games, more than the average, like, AAA only dude bro, that controller is well worth the price. It often goes on sale for under $40. Definitely worth it. And, like, that's a reasonable price. You know, if it's going to go out in a year, yeah, it's still worse than the controllers I grew up with, but at that price, I just don't really care. It starts to give out, and I just order another one, and that's the end of it right there. I definitely recommend, if you are going to buy those, it's worth buying two. Just so, if it does give out, you know, you have another one. Do they have a Pro 3 now, really? Do they? I wonder if the durability is any better, because that's like the only thing that's wrong with those controllers. The durability is admittedly pretty bad. Like, yeah, it's still going to give out on you like a PlayStation controller, PS4 controller, but the price makes it more acceptable. I didn't know there was a Pro 3. That's interesting. I'm looking for it right now before I start playing the next game. Maybe the durability is a bit better. But yeah, awesome controller. One of the best controllers we've ever had. Third-party controllers. Well worth the money. Well, when they upgrade it, it is just a straight upgrade. It's not a side grade. It's worth it. It's worth it for sure. What was I going to do? I was going to play Absalom. Yeah, that's right. Hold on. We'll do an Absalom run, and then I'm probably going to go back to bed. Yeah. Very solid controllers. The other problem with The other problem with the PS4 controller was it was micro USB, and the cables for that thing were shit, and would break extremely quickly. I replaced the cables like constantly. I started resorting to just only using them, buying them from the dollar store. Micro USB is just garbage all around. Like that was the worst version of USB. It's way too fragile. Once again, it was like, you know, not throwing it or like chewing on it or whatever, anything crazy like that. It still would break. So that was the extra shitty thing about the PS4 controller, was the controller itself had terrible build quality, and then like also plugging it in was miserable because the cables would give out. The ones that claimed they didn't do that were a scam. There are ones that claim that they wouldn't do that. I'm like, no, it's not something that you can fix. Yeah, maybe the way they can make the wire a little bit more durable, but at the end of the day, the problem was... At the end of the day, the problem was just the end of it was too fragile. Wait, it's still micro? Are you kidding me? It's not Type-C? That's crazy if true. I didn't know that. I've never really seen one. Well, I've only seen it once at my neighbor's house. I haven't used it, a PS5 controller, for more than like an hour. So, I don't have any opinion on it, personally. The 8-bit DO controller is objectively better than in every way. I didn't know that. I assumed it was Type-C. Oh, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, micro USB was the worst era of USB devices. Things with those cables would give out on you so quick. Luckily, I live very close to a dollar store, so that was how I adapted to that. Every time I go to like pick up my medication or go eat somewhere near there, I would just buy like 3 micro USB cables. It's like, well, this one gives out, I just immediately switch to another one. I don't know what possessed them to make micro USB. It's a shit idea. Wasn't good for anything. Yeah, it was smaller, but way more prone to breaking. And then they started making scams and shit like, you know, say that, like HDMI cables. Like, oh, it's braided. I'm like, that doesn't mean shit. The end's still gonna break and get bent. That doesn't mean anything. I mean, maybe if you got, like, animals or something that chew on your cables, maybe it makes a difference, but not in us. I don't know, PS4 era was kind of shit in general. A lot of amazing games, but it really felt like the era of if you wanted to play new games, it was time to invest in a PC because performance was just terrible, like the worst it's been. Playing like any FromSoft game on PS4 versus PC is like a night and day difference. PC. I don't have a current gen console, dude. Only current gen console I have is a Steam Deck and a Switch 2, and calling a Steam Deck a current gen console is kind of pushing it. I guess you can call it current gen, but
Because I should take a bite.
like I said, it doesn't really run current games, big games very well, so the most current gen console I have is a Switch 2. Kind of stopped being console only once the PS4 generation came out, because that was like the best time to do it. Based PS4 performance on a lot of popular games was really shitty, so I decided to take PC gaming more seriously, and I never looked back. Now it's kind of not the case because the AI mouth breathers are making computer parts cost like 6 times more. So, not so much the case now. There definitely are still shit PC ports that aren't worth the stress versus just playing on PS5, but not as many as there used to be. Apparently, like, buying RAM got like 3 or 4 times more expensive just in the past few months because of AI slop. They're already talking about a PS6. I'm like, dude, the 5 barely has any games. How are you gonna talk about a 6? Barely got any games, man. Best stuff to play on a PS5 is like small stuff like this because it comes out so much more often. They put out like 4 Ratchet & Clank games on PS2. This generation they've only put out 1. But think about that for a second. There were 2 God of War games on the PS2. Keep in mind that franchise started like started at the end of its lifespan. It's still got 2 games. There has been 1 God of War game this generation. DMC, same thing. Entire trilogy on one console. Now there's been 1 in 7 years. It's like buying stuff for AAA. You gotta be really rich. You gotta be really rich to buy a gaming platform for like just AAA stuff. You really gotta expand your horizons at this point, because if that's all you want to play, you're gonna have a drought. I'm glad that I've got a pretty open taste in games, you know. I like AAA stuff from time to time, but things like this are more up my alley. There's no shortage of games like this. Be cool, like small, lower budget stuff. Yeah, we don't know if the Neo 3 port is going to be good, because the Ronin port was trash. The Ronin port barely functioned, and I didn't really dig the combat in that game at all. I didn't like it.
Standing here scratches broken.
Controls are very
fragments in my
convoluted, among
mind.
other things. But yeah, having a worse port didn't really give that game any favors. I'm more willing to give a game an honest chance if I don't feel like I'm fighting to get it to work in the first place. If I don't have to fight with the game, I'll definitely give it more of a chance.
Shiny, my precious.
As far as I know, they never even had a plan for it in the first place. Which is pretty bad because Team Ninja games, like half the game is the DLC.
Nice find.
Like half the game is the DLC, so that's pretty rough.
Keep up!
I do feel that people that hate on that game seem to forget that Team Ninja games are not finished until they get all their DLC. The launch version is like half the game. It's always been like that. So yeah, you can not like the combat in the open world. I mean, those are fair criticisms, but you have to consider when you criticize that game, like, it didn't get any DLC. And like, honestly, content-wise, none of their other games have much more than that game does at launch. That's how it's always been. So I'm really careful about hating on it. You know, I just didn't like the gameplay flow at all. But you do have to consider, you know, the other games got a minimum of like 2 or 3 DLC packs that added entire new movesets, enemies, difficulties, you know, new movesets as well for the existing weapons, and then like you know, endgame systems and stuff. And Ronin didn't get any of those things at all. So is it really fair to compare it? Even if the combat in the open world was more widely liked, it still wouldn't have been as good as the other games just because it didn't get DLC. I see a lot of people just say it sucks. I'm like, you know, it's decent for what it is, but it simply can't compete with their other stuff because it didn't get any post-launch content. They did like 2 patches and dipped. So like, yeah, I didn't like it, but comparing it to their other games is really unfair. Like, Neo 1 at launch was didn't really have much more. Neo 2, same thing. Neo 2 was basically farming divine gear for no reason, because if you could clear everything on New Game Plus, there was no reason to keep playing. Because the way power creep works in Neo games is essentially, when the new difficulty comes out, everything you have is replaced in like an hour. Sometimes less than that. So continuing to play the game is kind of pointless. You know, it's better to just, you know, maybe trophy hunt or gather resources or make guides if you're a content creator, but it really is like, it gets to the point where you need to just put it down and wait for the next update. But like, Ronin never got out of that cycle. I think a lot of people really forget that. Neo 2 was the same thing, man. Neo 2 did not improve on that at all. It really was just, you did New Game Plus, and you got the Divine Gear, got a build going, and then it was kind of not really worth playing anymore. Outside of just for fun, but in terms of like progressing your character, after you got the Platinum Trophy, if that's your thing, there wasn't really anything left to do. And Ronin never got out of that patch cycle of Team Ninja games, so... Stranger of Paradise, same thing. The second DLC of Stranger of Paradise is like 80% of the game. You spend more time there than any other playthrough in your time in that game. You spend more time there than anything else. So, like, imagine if that game didn't get DLC. Would it be much better than Ronin content-wise? No. It'd be about identical. The build variety would be gone. All the moves would be gone. The extra bosses and enemies. The endgame mode, not there. None of them. I think it's fair for people to not like it, but... it just... Never having DLC meant it was never going to compete with any of their other stuff they made. Even if the changes to the formula, like the open world and stuff, are more well received, that's just the reality of it. Oops.
Lightning drill.
That combo. That was awesome. Wow, I love this mod so much. Nah, compared to Neo 2 at launch, the amount of content and endgame stuff is very similar. But I don't know why they made Ronin in the first place if they weren't going to get DLC, because it just never had a chance. You know, the open world and the combat was divisive. Not everybody likes the change to the gameplay loop, where essentially you can't really do long combos. There's a lot less weapon types as well. It's a constant back and forth with the parries and stuff, and that's like the only thing that you can do. But it just never was going to compete. I feel like Team Ninja should not take commissions to make games like that if they need to negotiate like minimum 1 season pass. Because just the way that the formula for their action RPGs works, like, if you're not going to have DLC, it's just going to feel very hollow. People can put, like, hundreds of hours into Stranger of Paradise, strictly because of the second DLC. It's not because of the first or the third, it's literally only the second one, the roguelike mode. You can put hundreds of hours into that if you like the gameplay loop. But, like, if it didn't have that, you would be done with that game after you get the Platinum Trophy, basically. So, hopefully, whatever they've got that's unannounced, they're, like, telling these publishers and whatever, like, dude, you need to let us do, like, at least 1 season pass, otherwise, we're not gonna make it. Otherwise, we're just gonna get more games like Ronin that like aren't bad games at all, but it just never reached its full potential. Because the formula that they have for their games is completely dependent on getting at least one season pass. And if it doesn't, then it has nothing. Kind of like some of the Muso games that have come out recently, like Age of Imprisonment. I did everything in that game except the side quests in like 25 hours. And there was nothing left to do. The updates helped a little bit, but not enough. The updates are kind of a band-aid on the problem of just like the build variety is like Origins. It's shit and unimpactful. And you can see everything else in the game really quick, and then they didn't make DLC for it. There's no season pass. So I assume it's going to be like Three Hopes, which was also the same problem. You know, if you wanted to play it for the story, it was decent, but if you're more into the end game stuff, like neither of those games have much to offer. You've seen most of it after you roll the credits. Those games had the same problem. I like Three Hopes for what it was, but it just had no end game whatsoever. You out-leveled what was in the game extremely quick, and the reason to keep playing outside of just for fun was kind of just not there. Age of Imprisonment was kind of worse, because the builds were a lot less OP in that game, and nothing you could put on your weapon was interesting. It was all just generic stat increases. They gutted the build stuff in that game just like they did in Origins, and it's the same problem. Not a bad game at all, but they focused way too hard on, we need to make the first playthrough really good to get reviews so that we sell copies, but then they forget, like, people want to keep playing the game, you know. Muso games are known for being stuff that, like, if you like the gameplay loop, namely the combat, and, you know, progressing your characters, you can get hundreds of hours out of them, or at least 100 minimum. But these last couple Muso games have really forgotten that. Age of Imprisonment, Origins, and Three Hopes all have this problem. I think Origins is probably the worst of them because they did have like a lot of significant mechanics changes in the beginning, the first playthrough, and then after that, that all kind of just goes away. Your character doesn't really get any stronger. They don't get new mechanics at all. The last couple skill trees are all just stat boosts. I think they really need to look at how they go back. They need to go back to the way it was before. I'm not one of those Muso boomers that thinks that the PS2 games are untouchable. There are a lot of things that are better about the new games, 100%, but those games had a lot more to do, especially the ones that got expansions. The Origins expansion does not fix the problem of just feeling like you max out so quick, and there's not really much reason to play. When do you unlock the rope dart? It should be Dong Zhuo's DLC, I think. I think that's when I got it. It's either that or was the fourth one. It was the third or the fourth one. Was Dong Zhuo or Lu Bu. I actually think it was Lu Bu is where I got it.
Draconic ascent! Lightning Draconic ascent!
Character switcher mod, yes, that's what I'm using. Go on my page You should have to, because I just put up a bunch of Dynasty Warrior stuff. Go back like one page and you should see it. There's a guide on how it works and how to install it. It's like a couple-minute watch. But yeah, you can use it right now, but there are limitations to it. So if you're expecting it to be like polished, then you're not going to get that.
Draconic Ascent! Lightning Drill!
Yeah, it adds a lot of depth to the game, but there are a lot of limitations. For one, they haven't figured out how to replace the second character sprites. I can show the other one. There's two modes right now. There's Cider and Galandra, and then Carl and Galandra. So if I switch to Carl...
Let's crack those old bones.
I can tag into Galandra. I don't think they really are very compatible. I did figure out some stuff with them, but I got like 30 hours in this mod. And this only got added like last week, so... They have some stuff that they can do, but not really so much in the training room.
Bullet.
Draconic Ascent! Draconic Ascent!
Yeah, Carl is kind of, not the best for this. This mod was made for somebody else. You might have heard of him, Major Players. He also makes a lot of, beat-em-up stuff. He doesn't play as wide of a variety of games as I do, but, he does play a lot of the beat-em-ups and stuff. This was made for him. The Cider and Galandra one was made for me, but this one was made for him. And Carl, when you get into the actual game and you have the inspirations and more than one arcana, it actually, they do have some stuff that they can do, but if you want to do training room stuff for videos, Cider and Galandra are way better. I'll practice a little bit more. I think I'll either going to end stream or switch games. Because I think the Xbox showcase is in like 6 hours, and there is a chance that they're going to show the Ninja Gaiden 4 stuff. Now, it's not... They have an announcement for it, and it doesn't mention it, but I feel like this is the only time that it's going to get announced anytime soon. The next major game thing is like the Summer Games Fest, which is like months away. So, unless that DLC is really going to come out like a year after launch, I think that they will actually announce it today. So I was planning on streaming that, but I don't know if I will, because that's the only thing that Xbox has that I give a shit about. I don't care about Fable or Forza or whatever else they have. None of that stuff interests me at all. I'd only be watching it for that, so
I am the danger.
I hope we at least get a release date. I doubt it's going to get shadow dropped, but I think what's interesting is they did say that the DLC is supposed to have, like, balance changes, so that's pretty interesting, because there are, like, some things I don't like about that game that they could easily fix with a patch. I tried Marvel Cosmic Invasion. I'm gonna be honest with you, if you have access to this mod I'm using right now, it's so much better than Cosmic Invasion. You wanna know why? Because the bosses fucking stagger. The bosses in Cosmic Invasion are garbage. They're not even really challenging, they're just annoying. They never stagger to anything. It doesn't even really make it harder, mostly because most of them you could just stand in front of them and parry forever. Which also limits, like, the kind of teams that you can have. You kind of need somebody who can parry, otherwise the bosses are horrible. Some are just, they feel like they're designed to just piss you off. And I feel like they designed it like that because they designed it around 4 players instead of 1 or 2. I could understand having hit stun, no hit stun, if you assume it to be a 4-player party at all times, but that's not a good way to design a beat 'em up. And what's interesting is the Shredder's Revenge bosses from the same people were also Hyper Armor walls, but those bosses were a lot less annoying, and they went down way quicker. I don't know what happened. Their boss design took a huge dump. Like, I really don't understand it. It's fun, especially if you like tag combo stuff like Orochi, which is like Orochi like Dead or Alive tag modes and stuff. It's fun for that, but the boss fights just ruin it for me. They're not fun. Also, promising to have 15 characters at launch instead of 4 like this does totally made the movesets small. The movesets are very small. There's not really a lot to work with, and even if there was, every boss, you know, you can't combo them at all. It would have been better if you broke their bar and they took hit stun for at least a couple seconds. I think that would have been a lot better. But they are just designed to annoy you. They don't have any other purpose other than just to annoy you. Why does Silver Surfer, like, zoom around constantly and has no hit stun whatsoever? And you have to fight him twice at the same level. It's just exhausting. You can kill them just as quick as you can in Shredder's Revenge, but you have to have a very specific team, whereas in Shredder's Revenge, you could kill them quickly with just about anybody. There were characters that could kill them quicker, obviously. The characters, despite being less unique than Shredder's Revenge, there was a difference in time to kill on bosses, but I don't know. It's been out for a couple months now, and they still haven't fixed those bosses. It definitely needs a balance patch. Some of the characters don't feel very good, and then also the combo rules for bosses are really dumb. Like She-Hulk, for instance, can chain grab a boss to half health, and then the grab literally stops working, which is stupid. They got multiple characters that can grab in that game, so when you get to half health, you only have like 5 moves. Your whole grab doesn't work anymore. You see them reach out to grab them, and it just goes through them. I don't know what it is, man. We got to stop designing beat-em-ups around having a full party, because it just hurts the more popular experience, which is playing it solo or like with one person. You know, your child or your partner or roommate or something. That's how most people play. Having a full party of people you actually know that aren't randoms online, most people don't do that. Especially if they're adults. It's a lot harder to coordinate stuff like that when you're all adults with jobs that live in different places. Yeah, I'd say that's the biggest problem with that game, is they totally designed it around a full party. And that's why there's no hit stun. But the boss fights are just garbage, and like, just complaining about the hit stun is not really accurate, or really giving an articulate criticism, because Shredder's Revenge has that too. But those bosses were way less obnoxious. Some of the bosses in Cosmic Invasion, they attack like this fast, and you can't hit them out of anything. So, people, from what I've seen, people mostly, they fish for the attack that works, and they just get them in a parry loop. I'm like, that's less interesting than actually being able to combo them, which takes a lot more execution than parrying once, parrying them, and then calling your assist and then repeating that to delete their health bar. I don't think that's a good boss fight either. If you let me actually put them in hit stun, at least for a couple seconds, then
It's nice not to have to.
that would be better. I don't know, like, if they're gonna do patches, because Shredder's Revenge was also pretty bad at launch too. That game had a lot of game design issues as well, but they fixed it. And I think by this point, they had already done like one major patch for Shredder, so I don't know what's going on with Cosmic Invasion, but if you have a Steam Deck or a PC, you can go download this mod off my video, like, right now, and it's a better tag game than that is. Despite this being a mod. That's what's crazy. This is a mod, right? This is not developer-intended way to play the game. But the tagging in this, in a fan mod designed by somebody I know in their spare time, is better than the tag system in Cosmic Invasion. Which is kind of depressing when you think about it. They designed that game around tagging from ground up, but this is just a mod. But I have like more time in this mod alone, not counting the time when I was beta testing the game and playing it after launch, than I played Cosmic Invasion. I have like triple the amount of time in this mod, like 30 plus hours, just playing with this mod, than Cosmic Invasion. I put like 8 hours into that game and never touched it again. Boss fights are just terrible. I'm actually getting really tired of, beat 'em ups and stuff don't have hit stun anymore because they expect people to play in a full party, and like, that's not how most people play these games. If they do, it's not a regular occurrence. It's like, especially if you're an adult, it's like if you're at like a convention or a party, or they're visiting you at your house or apartment, or you have roommates or whatever, or a partner to play with, or kids, like, yeah, maybe you do it more often, but most people don't do that. And I feel like that's why it has no hit stun. That's exactly why, but
Do you want to?
that's not how you should design a game. Especially stuff like beat 'em ups, where the player base dies after like 2 weeks. So I think it just hurts the game overall to design it like that when the player base is dead so quickly. And like, the chances of you getting a full party after the hype period dies down is very slim. You know, what's the point of designing the game like that? Design it around the average experience, which is just like 2 people to play it with. And that's it. It doesn't need to be designed around 4 players. That's 100% why none of the bosses stagger. I've heard that zero key combos are gone in Neo 3. I've heard that they're gone. I hope that they will backpedal on that, because I think that's really stupid, but everything else about it, I like what I've seen so far. But Neo bosses are, even if they do limit you, nerf you like that, are still 1,000 times better than any Cosmic Invasion boss. Even if those bosses didn't have like zero key combos, they are still more interactive than Cosmic Invasion bosses, where the most optimal thing is to stand in front of them and parry. It's not like that doesn't take skill, but it shouldn't be like the only thing that's viable, but people have... A speed run is pretty much like that already, where that's the main thing that they do. Because fighting enemies that move as fast as you kind of sucks. They move as fast as you in every way. They have instant startup on everything, but unlike you, they don't stagger. But people saying it's kind of like the Ronin situation. People parrot that the game sucks to Shredders, but they forget that Shredders was a mess at launch too. Shredders was 100% a mess at launch. It had different problems. Shredders was spamming taunts non-stop to get supers, and using the air super to delete everything was not fun either. And then stuff like not being invincible during throws was shit, because you could literally die from throwing something, which is just mind-numbing how they made a game like that and they didn't notice that that was a problem. But they did fix those things. But if we're comparing Shredder's Revenge launch to Cosmic Invasion launch, they both have really unfun games. Kind of the problem with these games coming out like not great at launch and fixing them quick. Like, it's great that they fix these games, but it makes people forget how they were at launch. Which is 100% a problem with like 90% of the Ronin criticism. Imagine Neo 2 with just no DLC. Like, it really wouldn't be much better. Even if you like Neo Combat more than Ronin, it would be the same problem. It's like no content. The Shredders versus Cosmic kind of has that same problem. This game sucks. I'm like, well, it has problems at launch just like Shredders did. But I do think, to be fair, Shredder's gotten a better state faster. I mean, Cosmic's been out for like almost 2 months now, and they haven't even done a single patch for it. All they've done is bug fixes. No, they still got a ways to go. I hope that they'll at least, like, say, like, you know, hey, we're gonna unjankify this game. The moment-to-moment gameplay is decent, but I don't know, any game where I hate fighting the bosses, and there's a boss, like, every several minutes, I can't really call it a good game. That's just how it is, man. Tales of Arise was like, you saw bosses less often, and it was probably more tolerable strictly because of that, despite having the same problem. That game also has garbage bosses. But, you know, it's an RPG, so they're spaced out a lot better. Cosmic Invasion is a 1-hour beat-em-up, so a significant amount of your playtime is fighting shit bosses. You gonna give me Title Dash or what? Let's move on here soon. Where is it? It's like when people say a game is really good 80 hours in. I'm like, well, I don't know if I want to play that then. I have to put 3 full living days into it for it to be fun, then I don't know if I want to buy that, man. At least not for full price. Maybe when it's like 60% off in a year. You're asking me to put literally 3 days into my life into this game for it to be fun playing. I don't know, that's a stretch. And that's kind of the situation that Cosmic Invasion is in the way it is now. It's like, fighting the basic enemies is fun. There is some sauce with the tag combo stuff that you can do, and the synergies are pretty cool, but it all just kind of falls apart when you fight a boss, and there's a boss every like 5 minutes, so do you really want to pay for something like that? If such a big chunk of your experience is going to be miserable.
Nothing is more treacherous than the sea.
Nothing comes for free, wizard.
I really don't like to be alone with my thoughts.
I think the way that Origins did it was pretty good. In that, like, if you just dodge or you parry an officer's attack, you do get a couple seconds to juggle them. I feel like juggle damage should be increased, and you should be able to do that for a bit longer. But that game has a pretty decent balance between, like, you know, you have to actually fight them. You can't just, like, burst them down to death really quick. But then, like, also still letting you do combos and stuff. That's better than just going Scorched Earth and, like, going just in armor all the time. And, like, nothing you do changes that, and by proxy limits what you can do to them. Yeah, if you have access to this mod, there is zero reason to get Cosmic Invasion. Now, if you don't have a modern console, and you want tag game, then, yeah, it's decent for what it is, but you only need, like, a Steam Deck to run this mod. So it's pretty accessible. It's not like running a game like this is a problem. It's just, you need the PC version to run the mod, but yeah, if you have access to that, there is not really much reason to get Cosmic Invasion the way it is now. Maybe if it gets some balance patches, but the fact that they haven't even said that they're doing one yet kind of doesn't give me a lot of confidence. I could be wrong though, you never know. I'm not in their Discord or anything, so maybe they're working on a major rebalancing, but it 100% needs one. I need these next couple beat-em-ups to be balanced around like 2 people tops, so that there can actually be hit stun. Don't balance it around a max party, which is going to be extremely hard to arrange already at this point. It's only been out for like a month and a half, and I'm sure the player base has cratered, so just don't design it around that when it's literally like the first month, if even that, is when you're actually going to be able to do stuff like that. And like the only max parties you're going to find is if you're in person, or you're doing net play with people you have a close relationship with. But logging on and getting a full party is going to be impossible, like, very soon. If it's not already, by like the time the game is 2 months old, like, you're not gonna be able to get a full party. So they gotta stop doing that shit.
Ritual.
It's not a good way to design a game. Not something like that, anyway. What I did to the boss there is not possible in Cosmic Invasion. He would have been in armor the whole time. And he would have had, like, no startup on any of his attacks. Just like, never in hit stun at all. It's really strange because the game also has like an armor system, but the armor system barely makes them stagger. It's what makes them take damage at all.
Many of these
It's pretty stupid.
I are before that.
I have everything you need right here. For the cause.
I don't know if I feel like going this way. It's either this way or I'm just gonna go the main or the mines. I'm not quite sure which way I want to go. I spam that route a lot. Let's do the mines this time. Let's mix it up. Especially because my ritual luck has been abysmal this run. I'll go do the mines instead.
Impressive. Track someone in your own league next time.
You guys want to see Past Echo, or do you want to see Fire? I could take Past Echo and burst down everything, or I could do Fire and do more combos. What would you guys like to see? Let's say Past Echo or Fire. Past Echo with these characters is extremely busted, because you just hit so many times. Yeah, I'll try to get it. If I don't get it in the next couple rerolls, and I see Past Echo again, then I'm just gonna take that. Ah, here we go. Yeah, we'll run this time. Make it more interesting to watch. Arcana Mastery Draconic Ascent with Past Echo on Arcana is busted. You can shred like 30% of a boss's health bar like instantly. Oops. Two seconds of juggle time. I think they need to reward juggling in that game. One of the things I don't like about Origins combat is that
So, is it time that's flowing backward?
the main thing that does damage is the QTE, and the QTE is the most boring thing about the combat because it's just mashing buttons. The game does not reward combos, like, at all. Go for it. I'm done after this run anyway. I'm gonna try to wake up for the Xbox thingy.
have tools for you, assassin.
Finders keepers. That's a massive amount.
Private quarters.
Safari do-
Draconic ascent! Rising through!
Bodied.
I yield.
Yeah. Give me your loot. Bodied, man. She got to do like one attack. That's what you'd like to see. I think I'm not gonna bother going with the recycle this time because I didn't get Flying Shredder.
Are you... My repro... I don't think I belong here in any form. Take the heat!
Draconic ascent! Rising through!
Kinetic gear! All right, you can come along with us. If only I could be invisible. see traps. So, is it time that's flowing backward, or is it up?
Dutle.
Hope your fans won't hold a grudge.
Take your coin and leave.
Challenge the line. Challenge the warriors.
It's always a pleasure to see your listening.
Shiny. Connecting here.
What's up? You missed some hype combos.
My cogs turn strangely with this
some
ritual.
some pretty good tag combos here.
I have everything you need right here. For the cause.
Move.
You don't stand a chance.
You don't stand a chance. If you want to see one of them, go back to when I was on the ship, like right after you left. That was a pretty good combo.
I expected nothing less from you. business. Yes!
That's
That's all I have to see!
damn. Oops. Mediocre? You got killed in 2 combos, bro.
Draconic Ascent!
What was mediocre about that? You landed 1 clash and your health bar just disintegrated. 10-second boss fight.
Am I alive? Yes? Yes! Ain't no place like home. This isn't really my home.
They lied.
They lied. When we decided to abandon their crooked ways,
They waged war upon us.
Azra gave us
Peace, plentiness, and security.
Finders keep.
The Crimson Order brings peace.
Kinetic gear! Kinetic gear!
What's up, girl? How you doing? Yeah, not one new ability that you can put on your weapons. Not even one. That's why playing this is cathartic, because they don't limit you like that. You do crazy shit in this game even without mods. Still only four move slots. This is Absalom with a mod to add tagging like Orochi. The tagging that I'm doing is not intended gameplay. It's a mod. You only have one character normally, but with the mod, you can have two. So I'm playing with that right now. Yeah, go buy it. It's like 20 bucks. Actually, I'll DM you after the stream. I'll tell you a cheaper way to get it. You can get this game for like under $20. You can install this mod and get new Orochi type gameplay. Yeah, I have a deal on Humble Bundle to get 20% off, so I'll probably get this for like under 20 bucks. Well worth it. I have almost 100 hours in this game. One of my most played games last year was this. Let me go.
That was fun. Back to the bazaar now.
I'm gonna go like that. Hello? There we go. I think Harada knew that Tekken is a sinking ship at this point. Just like Baba. Baba ran tails into the ground and then dipped. Itsuno as well. Screwed him over
Well, I was hungry.
way too many times. I don't blame him for taking China poaching. I think most people would do that in that situation. Give you your dream game, Dragon's Dogma 2. It's like the main thing you wanted to make before you retired, but then make you use it in a shit engine that can barely run it. So, just gets endless bad reviews. I would leave too, man. Can't imagine being in that situation.
Suppose I should take a bite.
Get the game you want, you've wanted to make for like years. They're like, oh, well, you need to make it an RE engine, which is not capable of handling an open world game. You need to make it in that. So then it runs like garbage and nobody can play it. And then it didn't get DLC, so that didn't help things either. I'm sure whoever's in charge of the Dynasty Warriors 3 remake is going to be in a similar situation, because they're making that shit in Unreal Engine 5 for some reason. I can't fathom why they think that's a good idea. Why are you making a Muso game in Unreal Engine? It's like making the next Call of Duty in a visual novel engine. Why are they doing that? What the hell, man? Want this game to fail? It's a quick way to do it. It's like they got Origins to run like quite well, with insane enemy counts and everything, and then like, why are they making it an Unreal Engine? I legit don't know the reason, other than they want to burn all the goodwill they built from actually delivering a good Muso port like day one. All that's gonna be gone in 2 months. I'd love to be proven wrong, but I don't know, man. They can't even get like Metal Gear Solid 3 to run in that engine. That has like 10% of the stuff going on. It's just a disaster in the making. that game is gonna get blown up hard whenever the embargo for it lifts. Shit, I'll do it too, man. I'll do it too. I'll totally call that game out if it runs like garbage. But it's almost guaranteed to because of the engine they're using. Like, the Metal Gear Solid remake in that engine should be like 120 minimum. But it's not. I'm like, dude, it's a stealth game. It does not have that much going on. Nothing in that game is as intensive as, like, even the intro of Origins. Somehow they're gonna make a Muso in that. I don't get it, man. I don't envy anybody who has to work on that game because they're gonna get a lot of flack for something that's not their fault, which is suits of the company deciding to make a Muso game with a garbage engine. They barely run a remake of a PS2 game from 20 years ago. Releasing on my birthday, March 19th. We're dropping that on my birthday. How do you think I feel? They're dropping that on my actual birthday. What a birthday present. Yeah, I kind of can't forget the release date for that because it's the day I was born. 3 was also the first Muso game that I owned, so I'm definitely not happy with the decision they've made so far. Yeah, it's in March, like 2 months from now. A little less than 2 months. I seriously doubt that. I seriously doubt that. Did you see how bad... You see how bad Metal Gear Solid Delta is? That's literally like a PS2 remake of like small instanced rooms with like 4 characters on the screen at once, at most, and that shit barely runs. It runs worse than the remaster from like 15 years ago that already ran at 60, and like the game is not even drastically different. That's the worst part. They did not change the game design at all. Like, it is like a one-to-one remake that runs worse. Is the better graphics really worth it running so poorly? As far as I'm concerned, no. Well, they're probably hiding gameplay because they know it's going to run like garbage. Extremely high chance. Because that's been the thing you do when you're going to put out a game that barely works, is you hide the gameplay as long as you can. The gameplay is supposed to be shown in a week. I don't really have a lot of confidence. Gameplay is supposed to be shown on the 29th, so 6 days our time. It's like when they announce a gacha and then they show gameplay and it's like Flash looking sprites and turn-based combat and then nobody cares. I think that's what they're doing. You gotta hide it until the last minute because they know that they're cooked the moment they show gameplay. That's what the gacha. That's what a lot of the gachas do. The like low budget ones. They did that with Resident Evil recently. They're like, oh, we're making a Resident Evil gacha. I'm like, dude, there's potential for a Resident Evil gacha to be like really cool if they like made it like the raid mode in Revelations or like Mercenaries or something, and they just like kept adding characters and mechanics. But what did they do instead? They made a Raid Shadow Legends clone, and nobody gives a shit about it because it's literally just a game that plays itself, and the only thing that matters is how much money you spend. I'm always really suspect when they announce a gacha and they don't show gameplay, or they like don't at least tell me what game it is, what type of game it is, because that's like almost always what happens. They did that with Kamen Rider recently. They hyped up a new gacha game for months after they shut down Ride Commons, and then it was literally just a tower defense game with like flash sprites that looks like it has a $5 budget. I'm like, why were you hyping this up? This literally looks like a Flash game I played when I was a kid. And you want me to play a gacha and spend money on this? Like, you're out of your mind. I'm not spending money on that. Make something worth playing. Oh, it is the 10th anniversary. The chances of that happening is a lot higher now that the Switch 2 is out. And also, the global expansion of Kamen Rider, there is a chance. But you never know, because the way that they handled the movie tie-in game for the Shin Kamen Rider movie was boneheaded. Essentially, they put that game in full English, and then they only released it in Southeast Asia, and then they delisted it from everything in like 6 months, and they never brought it out over here. Which makes even less sense when you consider that movie got a limited theatrical release. I went to see that movie in the theaters, and they have it on Amazon. Like, they have it available to stream for free. So, like, why didn't you bring that over here? Well, then the other dumb thing they did was they put the Evangelion robot in there, which is clearly the reason why it got delisted. That game only was able to be bought for like 6 months. I would hope that if they did do that, that they would just stop the bullshit and just release it here. They don't really have an excuse to only put it out in Southeast Asia regions if they're going to put it out in full English anyway, and then like not dub it, and then you can watch a decent chunk of Kamen Rider outside of Japan, like legally. So I would hope so. It is the 10th anniversary. Batride War Genesis was 10 years ago. So it could happen, but I don't know. I don't know the direction they're going with their Kamen Rider games. The gacha games are complete pieces of shit, and Memory of Heroes was pretty good. Shin Kamen Rider Rumble was alright for what it was, but I don't understand why they made it if they were going to stop selling in like 6 months. So I don't know what the objective was with that. Like, why is that not available in America? I'm not saying that because I'm American. I'm saying it because they officially released that movie here, legally. I'm not talking about pirating it. It was actually in theaters, and you can go stream it right now. So why the hell was it not brought over here? Doesn't make any sense to me. I guess it wouldn't have mattered because they delisted it in 6 months, but yeah, it is about time for a new Kamen Rider game, so they'll probably announce something at the next Direct. I've heard the next Direct's supposed to be in a few weeks. They might see something there. They're not even trying with their gacha games. Ride Commons barely lasted like a year and had like no gameplay. And they were going for the Fujoshi angle, but that didn't work. People weren't spending money on it. I think they think that women who watch tokusatsu because of the attractive men, they can't handle gameplay. Feels kind of sexist if you ask me. They give them something that they might like, which is like something focused on how attractive the characters are, but then it has like no gameplay, so it didn't do well. Really didn't do much of anything. Oh man, we got water. Can't do anything about that then. Water's the worst team right now. Why would they not show it in Southeast Asia? What? They didn't show that movie over there? That's crazy to me. Why would they not show it? You guys got the game. You got the game translated in English. They didn't give you the movie? What the hell? What is going on with their plan to localize it or expand it? I legit don't know what they're doing, man. That makes no sense. You guys got the game, but you didn't get the movie. They put out like every Kamen Rider game. None of them? Oh, really? That's a bummer. Oh, there's nothing to do on here right now. Let's wait till tomorrow to be finished. Alright, do I feel like doing anything else? I'm leaning towards no. I'll try to get some sleep and watch the Xbox showcase, and the only reason I'm watching it is to see if they're gonna do the Ninja Gaiden DLC. I don't give two shits about anything else Xbox does but that game. They found a way to make me care about their showcases. It's the only thing. It's not even confirmed to be there, by the way. It's kind of like people are just assuming it's going to be there because the game came out like a couple months ago, but it's not at all confirmed, so I'm on the fence if I want to stream it. I can't think of anything else they would announce that I would care about. I think that's going to do it for now. That's going to do it for now. I'm going to try to get some rest. No, Neo is not on Xbox. Nobody puts out anything on Xbox anymore. Xbox is basically a dead platform. It's been like that for a couple years now. As soon as they ran Halo and Forza into the ground, they've had nothing. I don't know why they even funded Ninja Gaiden 4, because like literally nobody is playing it on Xbox. It runs well on Steam Deck and PlayStation and PC. No one's playing it on Xbox. I'm glad that they did. It's an awesome game, but I don't know what exactly they were wanting to gain from that, because like literally there's no other character action game that's come out in the past couple years that's on there. The last one is basically DMC5. Like, Lost Soul Aside is not on Xbox. Hi-Fi Rush is like the last one, basically, but that was free on Game Pass, so that was incredibly cheap to at least try out. I don't know what their objective was with that. I'm glad that they did, but yeah, Xbox is a meme at this point. I feel like if this new Fable does bad, then they really don't have anything left. Seems like it's just kind of a passion project thing now. They don't make any money. It says a lot that when they jacked up the price of Game Pass a couple months ago, the site to cancel it literally stopped working for like hours. That should give you an example of how badly they're doing. They thought that maybe people could like not live without Game Pass so that they wouldn't cancel, but they were wrong. Their subscriptions went down a ton when they jacked up the price. And I'm like, yeah, they put a lot of really good stuff on there. And they do put like brand new games, but you got to consider most people only like certain types of games. And like putting Ninja Gaiden 4 on there at launch is really cool. But like, how many subscriptions did they get off that? Even I didn't do it. And I'm like the main kind of person that would do it. I'm a melee action gameplay first guy. I've been gaming since the late 80s, so I'm not really interested in narrative focused stuff. I just want gameplay. I didn't pay for it. You know why? Because it's fucking expensive. It's crazy expensive, and I don't want to pay like $20 a month to play that game. I'd rather just buy it. Especially when you consider that mods barely work on a lot of the Game Pass versions for PC. The cheat engine tables and stuff are often like completely different, and the amount of people that make mods for the Game Pass version are very small. So, like, I didn't pay for it for Ninja Gaiden. I paid for the $90 deluxe edition. I paid the maximum price for that game that they offer, and I didn't pay for Game Pass. So who else is doing it? No, there won't be a Neo 3 spot. Neo is PlayStation and PC. The only thing that's different with Neo this time is the fact that we're getting it on PC day one. That's the only thing that's different. And I don't know what the hell they negotiated to do that, because Sony has really had a strong arm on that shit. Like, the first two Neo games, the PC port was like a year later when it had all the patches and stuff. So I don't know what they negotiated, but it's nice for me because I don't have access to a PS5. I mean, I do, technically. My neighbor, the one that helped me get the Switch 2, her husband has one, but you gotta consider going to someone else's house to create content is incredibly limited and awkward, so if it was exclusive, I would not have even bought it. Like, I could pay for the deluxe edition, sure, but I don't really want to go to somebody's house and make content. It's just way too many limitations. Being able to use the mic for one, and then like having to put the videos on a portable drive and carry them back home. It's just like making things way too difficult. So the only reason you guys are getting Neo 3 content from me is because they put it out on PC. I have no reason to buy a PS5, even if I had the money, which I obviously don't, because you guys know I'm always poor. I would not do it for that game. I would not pay $500 just to play that. Especially because the mods for that game will probably be pretty killer. So the idea of paying that much to just do it all again is kind of dumb. Yeah, I don't know what the hell they negotiated, but it's a good thing for all of us. When am I getting the key? I talked to the community manager yesterday. He said that he is busy with other stuff, so he's hoping that they'll go out this week. I'll let you guys know. You just have to keep your expectations in check. There's obviously going to be a very strict embargo. So if I get it, the most I can say is that I have it. I can't tell you anything else. All that's off limits. All I will be able to tell you is that I have it. If you ask me, like, how it runs or whatever, I cannot say that. I cannot say that. And even if I was allowed to say something like that and not break the embargo and NDA, I don't know how accurate it would be, because when Neo 2 came out on PC, there were a lot of bugs in the version that they gave us, because we got it like a week or two early, right? All the people who basically put out consistent content for Neo 2 on PS4, they gave all those guys keys. Zelad, Pufferlama, Last to Load, also known as Sacred Force. Those are like some of the biggest content creators. And I'm not as big and well known as them for Neo stuff, but I did put out some pretty good stuff for that game. We were playing it, and it had a lot of performance bugs and stuff that they fixed. They fixed them before it came out to the public. So I would not really want to talk about performance, even if I was allowed to, because last time when we got Neo 2 on PC, there was some really weird performance issues and stuff that they fixed before it went public. So I don't know if I would even want to say anything, but if you want to learn about the skills, I can help you with that right now. Give me a sec. I think I'll go on Ninja Gaiden for a bit and call it a night. Call it a morning. It's in the morning, actually. Because I think I will watch the Xbox thing. It's at a decent time for me. Let me go ahead and pull up his video. Let's see, where is his playlist? Ah, here you go. Click on this. This shows all the new moves that he was able to find. It's possible that there may be more, but all the old weapons got some pretty significant stuff, so make of that as you will. He's got more than I would have at this point anyway, even if I didn't have any kind of limitation. I doubt that whatever build they give us is going to be much different than the demo, but it could be. Usually when games come out with demos, like within like less than a month from release, and they allow you to carry over the progress, that essentially means that the game is not going to change much, if at all. You know, if they get a report, if they get some kind of report that there's like a bug on certain hardware or something that makes it run poorly, they can fix it in a week, but the game is pretty much locked in at that point. That's often why demos don't let you carry over progress, because of that exact reason. So, if it runs bad in the demo, and I get the key and I can't say anything, don't expect whatever version I have to run much better, because it's not going to. But, again, I don't think anybody's been given a key yet, so I don't know if that's going to be true or not. But that's just my observation from past. Well, if it runs like shit on the demo, then they'll get blown up on the social media. People aren't gonna take that lightly. It's just, will they fix it? Because they did not with Rise of the Ronin. They did like one patch, and that was it. So if it runs like garbage, it's going to stay like that most likely. So I hope they knock it out of the park, but Rise of the Ronin's current and initial state on PC is not really giving me a lot of confidence in that regard. I'd love to be proven wrong, but that game launched in a piss-poor state, and they really did very little to it, so the health bars are from a mod, yeah, and I'm gonna turn them off. Getting kind of distracting. But yeah, Poofer Llama got to play it a couple months ago, and they allowed him to show all the moves, which is kind of interesting because the average person that's hardcore about Neo, to the point that they would buy that game on day one, does not give a single shit about the story. They're only in it for the gameplay. So the fact that they let him show, like, almost all the new moves is more of a spoiler for people who actually want that game than if they just let him upload all the cutscenes. 100%. Like, he might not think that, but it's true. That is more of a spoiler than, like, if they allowed those people to play the whole game and, like, upload all the cutscenes, like, months ago. They literally spoiled the main part that matters. But these companies don't think about stuff like that. It's like, don't show the story past a specific time. I'm like, cool, well, I'm not playing this game for the story. Show me all the weapons and stuff, that's more of a spoiler. Maybe that's why they made Jack the way he is. They know that the average Team Ninja player is a chronic cutscene skipper. So they made a character who is literally just their average fan. He just skips the cutscenes. It wouldn't surprise me if that's why. Does it mean I can also show them when I get the key? Well, that depends on the embargo. The embargo greatly differs depending on the game and the company. For instance, you know what's really stupid? People were putting up the entire story for the DLC for Origins, and I was only able to show the first level. So if you're wondering why I didn't do a playthrough, I mean, there's two reasons for that. The first is, when I did that for the original game, it performed incredibly poorly, and I literally put in, like, a 40-hour work week in, like, 4 days to make those videos. And all of them, except the ones where I was just talking, did terribly. So that's part of the reason why, but I also was under an incredibly strict embargo. I couldn't even show the training ground. They were only going to let me show, like, one fight. So I was just like, I don't even really want to show this. Now, granted, it didn't affect me as much as others, because most people playing the game are probably more story-oriented than I am. You know, it's just from, you know, I'm an elder millennial, so I grew up with games that had, like, no story. So it's nice if it's there, but it's not really the main reason why I play, like, anything. But yeah, the embargo was incredibly strict, and I was told that they fought to have one that made more sense, but that didn't happen. So, most likely, it will probably be, like, you can't show the ending or, like, certain cutscenes. And that doesn't affect me for two reasons. First is, I don't give a shit about the story. The second is, by the time I get past that stuff, I'll already be done with the game. I mean, I estimate I'll probably be done. If he gives out the keys this week, I will probably be done with the game by launch. And then by that point, the cutscenes aren't going to matter. But, it depends. The embargo for Neo 2 was really dumb. I couldn't show the cutscenes. Hey, Triple S, nice. I couldn't show the cutscenes in the DLC, and it's like, well, who cares about that? Because the game had already been out for a year. Like, if you wanted to watch the cutscenes, multiple people already uploaded them. These things don't always make sense. Sometimes you'll get, like, an indie game key, and there's, like, two things that happen. They'll either say, you know, there's no embargo. There's no embargo, you can show the whole game right now. Or they'll say, like, they'll have some really bullshit thing, like, you can't go past the second level or something. It's like, dude, you're making an indie game, man. Like, it's already hard enough to get people to play in the first place. Like, don't limit people to the point where they're not going to want to cover it. But yeah, these things greatly vary, and they don't always make much sense. Alright, I'm gonna do one more fight and call it a night here. Call it a morning, actually. Try to get some sleep, and I'll see if I feel like streaming the Xbox thing. I don't know if I care enough to. The only thing they have that I care about is literally this game. They have nothing else. Show anything in the dojo? Highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. Don't expect anything, basically. Expect me to disappear and, like, only be in my Discord. Or, like, streaming random stuff, like Absalom and, like, indie games. Don't expect anything. Temper your expectations. I haven't been told what the embargo would be, but I generally don't expect to be able to show anything. I could be wrong. You never know. They did already let people play it a couple months ago, so I don't know how much they care. Maybe it's time for me to go to bed. I'm gonna go ahead and crash, folks. Gameplay quality is diminishing. I haven't played this in like a few months, but no, I should not be playing that poorly. Definitely gotta... They announced the DLC today. I definitely will be playing this more. Gotta finish up unlocking everything, so maybe we'll do that later. The Xbox thing is in like 4.5 hours, so I aim to be on at that time. I don't know how much attention I'm going to pay to it. I mean, if they show Ninja Gaiden, I'm definitely going to be locked in, but I'm not expecting them to. They didn't officially say it. It's just I really don't know when else they could announce it. There aren't like any major gaming events that cover Xbox stuff coming up very soon, so I'm going to assume it's today. Either way, I'll definitely probably play some Ninja Gaiden or some more Absalom later, because I don't really want to start a new game right now with Neo 3 quickly approaching. So either way, I'll see you guys in a few hours. Thanks for watching. Go peep the Discord. I'll let you guys know if I'm going to stream.